Hi guys, Travis here, Perth Diesel Performance. Today we're going to fit part 2 of the Hilux fuel filtration kit. We've already done part 1 and that was the diff breathers. We've already covered off all the prep and the installation of the stainless steel bracket for the fuel filter to mount on in the diff breather video. So you just need to watch that, and this video is emphasised on how to install the fuel filtration itself. This kit is sold as a combo, so if you get both parts, we've fitted the breathers first, and in this video, we're going to go all about the fuel filtration. So let's jump right into it and walk you through it. The reason we're going for the 5 micron filter is we want a finest filter, give the fuel system the best chance of filtering out any dirt or debris, and obviously this is acting as a water trap as well, whilst giving high flow fuel filtration. So first of all, screwing off the bowl, the water set bowl at the bottom, I want to bring to your attention there is an O-ring in here. Make sure that O-ring stays on the bowl, doesn't stick to the filter, and you discard the filter in the service environment, because what will happen, you'll screw it up, yes it'll start and go, and you're going to get problems with sucking air as you turn the engine off and sitting overnight. So to continue on and take off the fuel filter off the fuel head, literally this big ring here, you're just going to grab it and anti-clockwise screws off. Once you've got the fuel head off, it's just a rubber seal in there that locates onto these two fuel inlets and outlets. There is a keyway here, you'll notice on the fuel filter itself, and then on the head it's the same keyway, so the filter can't just push on, it's actually got a location that goes to. A little tip as well, if you are in the car, wherever this location is generally, the micron rating, the new filter, if you line that up, it will go straight back up. So if you are in the vehicle or in the service world and you're trying to change on the side of the road, take note of where that is, and the replacement filter will go straight back into location. So we will go ahead and just take the plastic off this filter. Now they do come with a little cock valve on the bottom. There's a little seal there as well that seals to the bottom. That's coming off. That's off the filter I'm fitting. I'm just going to put that back onto the original filter. Just put that aside for keepsake. If you do need it, you can use it. Now, once again, mentioning that O-ring, make sure it's there. Just going to screw that on, start those threads. See it spin down. Literally 2 hands, just grip it tight. One thing you'll see, these drain valves do come tightened as well, but if you are in service, can undo it like so. Just needs to be loosened and you can drain the water set trap. So just check that as well. Actually, I've undone it. I'll just make sure the seal, I'll show you what's in there. It's the little rubber seal that we had at the bottom. You'll see in there, little O-ring dust seal, and then there's the seal on the bottom that seals on the surface here. So it is plastic, so don't go using multi-grips or anything like that, just thumb and forefinger. Good thing is, on a new filter you get a new one of them if you do need to replace it. So fuel head, lining up that keyway, then on the filter as well you'll see the keyway here. Literally it's going to go in there, just push up, drop this ring over. There we go, was it just a bit snug getting over there. Now this line here is going to come around to here and you'll hear it snap like tight when it gets into the right position. There you go. So as I say, that line there will generally line up with this air bleeder here. So, and away we go, we've prepped the fuel head, so now we can go over to the vehicle, bolt it in, and then we'll put the fuel hoses on. Okay, so just before we're going to mount the secondary fuel filtration kit into the vehicle, just going to check around the factory filter and make sure we've got everything right. So we've located the plastic clip in there, the locking wire. We're just going to put this guy back in, and then also this 4-pin connector here we took off earlier off the factory bracket does need to go through here and then plug in, and then obviously we'll locate this clip. So we're just going to go through, and you'll see obviously it's much easier now for me to do it without the fuel head here, because I can put my hand down nicely to get to it. If you want to, you can undo this, insulated the factory loom done up if you want, so when you pick this fuel head up to give you a bit more length, it's up to yourself. But look, you can undo it and unclip it when you take it off. It's a personal preference there. Just remember there is going to be an excess of cable dangling around. Just depends if you've got dual batteries and what have you there. Okay, so now we'll get the fuel head and we'll bolt that on. Okay, so we've got the fuel head that we prepared earlier. We've got the two M10 bolts and we've got the two M10 nuts. So just going to spin them up. Look, personal preference, you can put them the other way around if you want the nuts on the outside. The reason I'm doing this obviously is for provision for our dual battery kit that is going to be located here. The bolts are going to hang out a bit longer and give you a bit more grief with clearances. So that's all in there now, and then we're going to prepare the hoses to plumb it all up. So we'll go ahead and we'll just do that up tight. So it's all nice and tight and secure, and it's time to get our hoses in there and plumb it up. So obviously referring to our instructions here as well, we've got numbers and diagrams and where they go. So we're just going to read through the instructions and follow that. Obviously some flow and directions can change from time to time, so always refer to the instructions at the time of fitting the kit. They're going to be the most current. Okay, so in the next step, I just want to spend a bit of time explaining what we're going to do here. So this is the fuel tank feed to the factory fuel filter. We're now going to take it off here. We'll use some long nose pliers, obviously get in here, and I will slide the hose clamp up. Obviously you can get into it with your thumb and forefinger, but down there is a bit tricky. We're going to take that hose off and we're going to plumb it into this back fitting down here. That is going to put from the fuel tank into our fuel filter that we're fitting, and then the fitting at the back on the right angle fitting is going to come out and then feed back in here. And then last of all, you are going to take off this fuel hose here, which you'll see is the fuel hose feeding the fuel pump on the engine. So by removing that, it's going to not have an airlock effect. So as we're priming this, we're going to pull fuel from the tank through the fuel filter, clean fuel with no air through the factory fuel filter, and then put the hose back on, and then we're going to start the vehicle up. So let's jump in and do that. Okay, so we've moved the clamp up. The rubber hose, just give it a bit of a twist before you pull on it, and just break the rubber seal to the plastic, so to say. So literally going to pull that guy out of there. A bit of super glue on it from factory. We're going to take that hose clamp off, and we are going to fit one of our AFI hose clamps we use in our kits, and then we are going to come around here. Look, we may, depending on the vehicle, we're going to shorten that hose up just a little bit, because obviously you can see it rubbing on the stainless steel bracket. So we're probably going to take about 10 mil off that hose. So we'll just get some hose cutters. Just do another fit up. So obviously I'm making sure that the angle of the hose, the factory bend, you see it's all got clearance, nothing's touching. So we'll grab a flat blade screwdriver, or you can get a nut driver socket head to suit the AFI hose clamp if you so wish. And we'll go ahead and nip that guy up. Alright, so that's on there, nice and tight, all located. Okay, so we've got our length of hose here. We're going to plumb from our filter we've just fitted out of this 90-degree barb and back into the factory one. So can be a bit tight to get on because it is a good fit. Alright, so we've got that on. Now we can slide the hose clamp on, and you'll see always when you put the hose clamp on, you don't want to have it so they're serviceable with a flat blade screwdriver. If you are roadside, you do need to, check a hose fitting. So now we're just going to get that. We're going to have to trim that hose up, so we do give you more than you require. Just going to sort of estimate, and then we can trim it that little bit shorter. Last of all. So it's still a little bit long, so we'll take a bit more off. So I can always chop a bit more off, but you obviously can't grow the fuel hose. Okay, so just had a bit of a play around with hose lengths. So I'm just sliding this hose clamp on in the direction that I want it to tighten it up. I'm going to face it towards the front here. Like I mentioned earlier, this car's going to have a dual battery system in it, so coming through here with a flat bladed screwdriver to tighten up isn't going to be possible in the future. So either way it would work the same, but we're just going to rotate it in that orientation. So just going to push that guy on there, come through here. Obviously as well, you can twist and roll the hose and it helps give it a bit of shape and clearance off the bonnet and what have you. Now you just probably can slide that hose clamp up a fair way, take a lot of you'll see there's a fair bit of movement in the hose clamp to take up before we do our last tighten. So obviously it's still quite loose down there. So we're happy with it there. Come through so I can get a square take on it. You can probably be able to see a bit better there with the camera angle. Now this is a plastic fitting as well, so you probably do want to support the fitting. You don't want to just be reefing on it and obviously have a bit of a drama on your hands. So just bearing that in mind when you are fitting the kit or if you are servicing the car as well. And then as well, this factory fuel hose is going to come back around here, and then we can tighten this hose clamp at the back. Once again, putting it in a serviceable position. And they are EFI hose clamps, so what that means is they're a full circular clamp around the whole clamp, not a perforated band like you can see in the clamp where the worm drive is to tighten it up. So it's got a nice sealing surface all the way around, so you don't get any air sucking from the fuel filtration. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take off this hose off the factory fuel head, and then we're going to use the factory lift pump here. Look, you can try and just prime it through here. What's going to happen is it's going to get an airlock from the lift pump to the engine. Then you have to start it. It's finally going to get the airlock come through. The engine's going to stop. You have to pump it again and so forth until you get the airlock out. It's much easier and quicker to take off this fuel hose here and purge all the air out of the system. So obviously as it sits at the moment, this hose to the engine doesn't have air in it. So by getting all the air out of the system, you're not going to have any stop-start problems. So we'll go ahead and take that off. Like you see there as well, I've just twisted the hose just so I can get it nicely off the plastic. Okay, so we've got a container. Probably don't want to go grab the missus's favourite coffee cup. Grab a container we can pump some diesel into, and you'll see the diesel is coming through quite solid, no air, and then boom, there you go, you can see the white air bubbles, quite foam and aerated. Keep pumping, and nothing's going to come through for a little bit. You'll see a little splash there, and then you're going to prime the filter we've just installed first, and then once that's full, okay, I can feel the primer bulb and you can hear it. It's actually got a little bit of feedback. There we go. See, a little bit of foam, and it's just about there. She's pretty happy there. Try and get that out without making too much mess. And we can slip on that hose. We'll just put this somewhere safe, and obviously you can discard that, put it back in your fuel tank, do as you require. Now, good little tip as well. Sometimes the location of this might not be in the best position for yourself, so do it for the tools that you may have out on the road. So if it means locating it down here or around there, put it in a serviceable position. Go ahead, pump that up. You're going to feel it get quite firm and hard. Just going to locate that hose back into the bracket. There is another one in here as well, little pink dots on them. Do a final check off with your fuel hoses. Make sure nothing's rubbing, touching, it's all tight. Obviously got diesel on your hands, so wash that off, or if you've got gloves, pull them off, or start the vehicle. Come around here, we're just going to prime that up, or get someone to start it for you. Wash down the vehicle, road test it, check the leaks, and away you go. Away you're done. Fuel filtration kit is installed, easy as that. Okay, so we've just started the vehicle. I'm just priming up the last bit of it till it's nice and firm, and then we'll just shut it down. Okay, so we've got all the air out of the system. It's all primed up nicely. Fuel filtration's all installed. Like I mentioned, just do a last wash over in the engine bay. Go over, check all your hose clamps, no leaks. Now, from a service side with our fuel filtration kits, we have plenty of the 5 micron filters in stock. So from a service side, if you are after one while you're buying the kit, installing the kit, it is a good thing to have on the road or in the back of the car. Take it away on a trip, that, an air filter, and serviceable items that you might need along the way. But rest assured, we do have them in stock all the time. We can freight them out to you really quick and easy. And lastly, thanks for buying the kit, installing it. Hope the video was beneficial to you, and thank you.
No, thank you, old Trav. We've finally finished this video. It's taken us near on 12 months. As you can see, that's how easy it is to fit a Hilux diff breather and fuel filtration kit to your vehicle. So it's safe to say your Hilux is protected now. Once again, thanks for watching. If you're after one, get in touch with us today, and I'll see you in the next video or out on the tracks.